My name is Njo Kong Kie. I am a musician. I'm also a composer. Last season at Canadian Stage, I had a piece called Picnic in the Cemetery, a hybrid concert theater performance. And in the same year, also had a piece of music theater that was also performed in Mandarin, Mr. Shi and His Lover at the Tarragon Theater. I Swallow the Moon Made of Iron is a musical and theatrical setting of the poetry of Xu Lizi. Xu Lizi was a poet, a Chinese poet. He was born in the 1990s in rural Guangdong. At the age of 20, he found work at the Foxconn factory in Shenzhen, China. Probably a lot of the audience might have heard about Foxconn because of the controversy in 2010 of a series of worker suicide that sparked a lot of debate about the working conditions of the factory workers. The suicides continued for a few years, and Xu Lizi was one of the workers. Xu Lizi was also a poet. In fact, he was considered the most prominent, promising poet of the worker poet literary movement in China. In the span of 4 years, he wrote close to 200 pieces of poetry. So I read them over and over again, and basically just trying for the purpose of creating a show that is going to have a bit of an arc. So I distilled them, grouped them into categories in terms of their subject matter that they discussed, and chose the ones that jump out to me the most from the groups. I was greatly impacted on two levels. Of course, first just as a human being, I was quite overcome by the tragedy of the suicides, including his. But I also was very moved by his talent and his work of poetry. They were very direct and visceral, so it's you kind of feel like you were being punched in the guts by his words. On that level, I think the audience would really be moved to know that this poet existed, that he created such a beautiful body of work. But also, I think it's inevitable that that poetry would lead us to think about things that we may not have thought about before, so we might look at our iPhones differently, and we may think about a lot of people that's normally not seen, not heard, and forgotten, that contribute to our day-to-day comforts. I guess at the end of the day, if I could have played a small part in helping us remembering Xu Lizi and all the other people, whose struggles we don't think about in this digital age that we live in, I think that would be at least a small reward for me.